The heavy oak door suddenly burst open. A towering figure in black leather and chains stomped in, snow swirling around him like he'd brought the storm inside. His vest bore the Hell's Angel's skull and wings. "Jesus Christ, it's colder than a witch's grave out there," he growled, shaking off snow. Frank's pulse jumped, but not from fear. He'd always helped stranded travelers. "Got any food that might thaw a man from the inside out?" The biker asked, voice rough but polite. Frank gestured to a chair by the fireplace and ladled steaming stew into a bowl. The stranger accepted it with scarred, ring-covered hands, closing his eyes at the first bite. "Name's Diesel," he said. They sat as the storm howled. Diesel spoke of riding with his brothers across 23 states, military service, a painful divorce, and how the patch meant no one rides alone. Frank shared memories of teaching high school history, his late wife Mary's battle with cancer, and her insistence on helping others. "Kindness to strangers is what makes us human," he said. Diesel stared into his bowl. "Lost my dad at 16. Never learned the things fathers teach sons." Frank refilled the bowl without a word. The old CB radio crackled. "Road dog to Diesel. Storm's got half the chapter stranded. Heard you made it to that mountain house. How copy?" Diesel keyed the mic. "Copy, brothers. There's still good people in this world. I'm sitting with one right now who opened his home and served me a meal that would make your mama weep." Word spread fast across the biker network. As dawn broke, a deep rumble grew outside. Frank looked through the frost-covered window and froze. An endless line of chrome and steel snaked up the mountain road, nearly 200 Harley-Davidsons, their riders cutting through the fresh snow like an army. Diesel stepped onto the porch, grinning. "Frank, put on more coffee. The Colorado chapter heard about your hospitality. They've come to pay respects." Bikers dismounted with unexpected reverence, arranging bikes in precise formation across the property. The chapter president, a silver-bearded giant covered in ink and scars, approached Frank and removed his gloves to shake hands. Brother Diesel radioed ahead. "Where we come from, a man who opens his home to a stranger in a storm, no questions, no expectations, becomes family. Blood isn't the only thing that makes brothers." The cabin filled with leather-clad men moving gently through the space, careful around family photos and the old lantern. They accepted coffee from Frank's mugs and shared stories, not of violence, but of charity rides, toy drives, blood donations, veterans carrying wounds, fathers worried about daughters, mechanics who fix what's broken because they know what broken feels like. One rider, tears freezing on his cheeks, spoke of losing his son in Afghanistan and how the brotherhood filled the void. Another showed photos of grandchildren he was putting through college. The president reached into his vest and placed a hand-stitched patch on the kitchen table, a mountain peak encircled by the words, "Mountain Brother." "This has never been given to anyone outside the fellowship," he said, voice thick. "But last night you proved family is sometimes forged in pure kindness." Every biker raised their mugs in a rumbling toast that shook the timbers, not with menace but with recognition. Frank accepted the patch with trembling hands and pinned it to his flannel shirt. As the sun rose, painting the snow in gold, the riders shook Frank's hand one by one, engines roaring to life in a symphony that echoed through the valleys. They rode out in procession, taillights fading like red stars. The cabin felt quiet again, but the silence felt warm, full. Frank touched the patch, feeling the careful stitches. In the weeks that followed, word spread through the mountains. Visitors came from miles around to see the place where leather-clad angels proved kindness can bridge any divide. Frank welcomed each one the same way, with stew, coffee, and quiet dignity, knowing now that one simple act in a storm had started something much bigger. Proof that sometimes the most unlikely people become your greatest allies, and that a single bowl of stew can taste like redemption.